You're watching Raleigh Smoke, a barbecue channel. Well, hey there, YouTube. This here video comes from a trip my wife and I took last May to the western part of the state, just outside the Great Smoky Mountains. Now, while we were there, we did a bit of fishing and managed to come up with a few trout, 2 rainbows and 1 brown to be exact, and since I brought my WSM with us, I figured I'd fire it up and do my best to smoke trout for the very first time. Once we were back at the cabin, it was time to clean the fish, and truthfully, my wife and I had never filleted a fish before. So we watched a video or two, and then we decided to have a competition. The winner got to fillet the 3rd fish, whoever filleted the fish the best. And honestly, she won, so that's what you're seeing here. And truthfully, she had a bit of an edge on me since she grew up fishing with her dad on Lake Erie and Canada and all that. But anyways, this cook, I decided to go with brining the fish. And I thought that brining would be best because the fillets were kind of small. But after I go at this without brining, I'm not so sure it's necessary on fresh fish. But what do I know about fish? Not much. So this little brine that I created just contains about 1/4 cup of kosher salt, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic minced, and about 1/4 cup of dark brown sugar. And once they were all stirred up in a bowl with some ice, put all the kids in the pool, and then put them in the fridge for about an hour or so while I fired up the WSM. Running in the WSM today is just a small chunk of apple for a lighter smoke, and I'm only using lump charcoal, which, in my opinion, lump provides a better flavor for fish, poultry, and coarse cuts of meat, like meatloaf, for example, that easily take in smoke. Now, although I'm not showing it here, there is water in the water pan, and in the lower rack I'm putting in a full drip pan just to catch any potential fish juice, because there's a lot of fear-mongering on forums online about putting fish in your smoker. I think that has to do with a lot of larger fish that just might not be fresh, or more oily fish. But for trout, though, especially fresh ones, I think you'll be fine. All fully assembled, I let the WSM just settle in around 225, 250 for this cook. So after an hour or so, it's time to bring the fillets out of the brine and pat them dry with a paper towel. Now you may wonder what this little rack is that I'm using here to lay the fish on. All it is just a drying rack that I used in my meatloaf video. I just wrapped it with some foil, poked a few holes in it to allow some heat and smoke to come through. To season these fillets, I just went with some fresh ground black pepper, a light dusting of Old Bay seasoning, lemon slices, fresh dill, and then spray them lightly with some olive oil. Now I know at this point some of you are probably asking, I know I saw 3 fish, so why are there only 4 fillets that I'm seeing? Well, I've got all 6, just 2 of them were quite small, so I decided just to wrap them in foil with the same ingredients and a little bit of butter, honestly because I was just afraid they might dry out in the smoker. Once the larger fillets were on for about 20 minutes or so, I put the smaller fillets on that were wrapped in foil. That's because anything wrapped in foil will generally cook a bit faster than unwrapped, not to mention that these were smaller fillets. And I did all this in hopes that everything would be done around the same time. Now, if I completed this video a year ago when I filmed it, I could tell you exactly how long these trout fillets took to cook. But I can't remember. Best recollection is it took about an hour or so. What you really need to know is when you're cooking trout, you cook it until it appears opaque and flakes easily with a fork. These here you can see meet both those qualifications. And a check of the smaller fillets that were wrapped in foil shows that they too are done and ready to come off. Well, let me state the obvious here. I know my presentation stinks, but the fish was amazing. If you ever get the chance to smoke fresh trout, go for it. And if you get to do it in the Smoky Mountains, you'll know exactly how awesome this was. We loved it, so did the cat. Thanks for watching, y'all.